NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
My name is Ian Cockerill. I'm the CEO of Endeavour Mining. I was born, raised and educated in the United Kingdom. Until I was 10 years old, I lived in London. And then my father had to move with his work to the northwest of England, and we moved up to Cheshire in the 1960s, which, as you remember, was the time of the Beatles, the Mersey beat. So it was culturally a very interesting time. I always wanted to be a vet. I loved animals, and for many years I used to go around with the local vet. I helped him with his rounds. He was a farm vet, so we used to go, to the various farms and help the farmers. And on the weekends, we did operations. And I always wanted to be a vet. And I eventually landed up studying geology. And I graduated. And then I had a choice after I could have carried on and done a postgraduate medical degree. I could have joined National Westminster Bank as a trainee banker. I could have joined a commodity trading business in the city in London, or I could have gone out to Africa. Even though I was thinking about doing something in the sort of medical space, I thought, no, let me go out to Africa. And I went out to South Africa. I was working on a mine, but I found that I was much more interested in the mining side of things. And after a year, I transferred from being a geologist to become a trainee miner. So I got a blasting certificate and then became a miner. That started my initial sort of 21-year career with the Anglo-American group. My whole career, I've been really fortunate that I've worked on every continent around the world. I always joke and say that I've been very lucky that I've been to places that National Geographic photographers have not been to. And for someone who wanted to start out being a vet, having almost by default landing up in the mining space, I've loved it. I've been very, very fortunate. I think it started out with the portfolio where I basically sat on the boards of companies. That gave me an opportunity to see many different things. Gave me a taste for doing something perhaps a little bit different than just being a full-time executive. And I did that for 14 years. And I was deputy chair of the company that I still work with, Endeavour Mining. We had to let go our previous chief executive. The board asked me to step up to become the chief executive again. I said, but I've been out of the role for 14 years. Is this such a smart idea? Anyway, having thought about it, I do not want to sometime in the future sit back and say, what if I'd done it? I thought, let's go and try it. I've now been in the role as CEO of Endeavour Mining. Endeavour Mining is a FTSE 100 gold miner based in West Africa. We are one of the top 10 global gold mining businesses. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a great experience. We've got this fabulous footprint in West Africa, some really good mines. We have one in Senegal, we have two in Côte d'Ivoire, two in Burkina Faso, and we'll shortly be announcing the development of a third mine in Côte d'Ivoire. But we're also growing our global footprint. We've just started out with an exploration joint venture in Kazakhstan, and we're looking at other places where we can expand. We are the largest gold producer in West Africa, so our limits to growth are a little bit more constrained. So we've got to start looking outside of West Africa as well. The psychology of gold is fascinating. If you think about it, for thousands of years, people have revered gold. It's something which is precious, it's unbreakable, you can't destroy it. It's something which gives you tangible value. That is what's so special about gold. It is special because people can trust it, and they've trusted it for years. I would strongly believe that everybody should have a reasonable portion of their portfolio in gold. But the question as to who supplies that gold or where you get that gold from is a really interesting question. And that's why obviously investing in a high quality listed company like our own or others, at least you have a degree of comfort that what people are saying they're doing because it's audited on an ongoing basis. That, I think, is important. The one thing about gold is that gold is no one else's liability. You can have stocks, you can have shares, you can have ETFs and all sorts. If you have an ounce of gold, it's yours. It's tangible, it's real. Can't be taken away. What I love about gold is that because it's physical, it's there, you can hold it. It's a great store of wealth for people. So as an alternative to fiat currency, which is devaluing by the day, most countries actually spend more than they take in taxes. And the classic example is the US. I mean, it's just crazy, the amount of debt which is being piled on. And for many years, they've had a massive privilege of being the reserve currency. And I think what we're seeing in front of our very eyes is that's starting to unravel. And it's one of the reasons why I think gold is performing well. You're seeing a lot of central banks now buying a lot of gold. The People's Bank in China, they've made an undertaking that they want 20% of their reserves to be in physical gold. Currently it's 8%. So that demand and the demand that you've seen for gold over the past sort of 12 to 24 months has predominantly come from central bank buying. And that's a steady purchasing. But also retail buyers are getting in there as well. And predominantly from the Far East. 25 years ago, the World Gold Council developed almost arguably the first ETF in gold. And that was the first time that gold was genuinely democratized for the man in the street. Because all of a sudden, it became very easy for the man in the street to own physical gold through an ETF, which was backed for every dollar that was put in for an ounce of gold, an ounce of gold had to back that up. It was a great innovation in the gold space, and it helped grow retail demand for gold. Today, that's old hat. The point about digital and how everyone is moving digital, gold has to move into the same space. So the development of the next phase, what I will call the gold ETF by the World Gold Council, you're seeing products being developed by the World Gold Council in conjunction with some major banks that will produce digital gold that makes it much easier for people to transact in gold, but backed by the physical. So instead of it being backed by nothing other than good faith, people can trade something that's got intrinsic value, backed by gold, and that they can trust. So absolutely, that's the next wave of innovation that will come for the retail investor being able to own and transact in gold. I'm a great believer in life. There's a path and there's choices. You go this way or that way. And it's all a question of which choice do you make. And somehow, I spent a lot of my life working in gold. That's most of my career has been based in gold. And again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But there's never been when I was younger, no conscious effort to go into gold mining. I kind of fell into gold mining and I just enjoyed it so much, I've just continued. It's poor by Western standards if you use standard Western metrics of GDP per capita or what have you, but it's very rich in natural resources, both in terms of physical commodities and its people and its potential. And if you look at what's happened, even over the last 20 to 30 years, I see the opening up of the continent, primarily through primary industries like agriculture, like mining, and the multiplier effect that has given to those countries. I mean, I remember going to Mali in 1996. It was really poor. Anglo-American had opened up a new gold mine, Sadiola mine. Very quickly, that one mine was the second largest contributor to the GDP of the country after the cotton crop. Then when I went back 15 odd years later, you could see the impact. I do think that mining deserves credit for the good stuff it does, but also needs to be held account for the occasional bad things it does. Endeavour Mining, who I'm the CEO for now, has always had an establishment here in Monaco since about 2010, 2011, when it sort of set up offices here. In 2013, I first joined the board as an non-exec director back then. And it was the first time I came to Monaco, and I was fascinated. Formula One, the glitz and glamour of Monaco. It is inarguably one of the most beautiful parts of the world. It's very similar, scenery and what have you, to Cape Town, the climate, and we spend part of our life in Cape Town as well. That's when I sort of first came here, and I guess kind of fell in love with the place. And so when the opportunity came, it was quite logical that I should be based here. We've had this establishment here for 14, 15 years, so it was logical to come and be based here. And it's certainly not a decision that I regret, not at all. What I love about Monaco, first and foremost, it's a wonderful climate. It's incredibly well located. You know, you're so close to everything. The ability to pop into to Italy, going into Provence, up into the mountains, into the ski area, and the people here on in the south of France are incredibly friendly. Monaco is also very international. You're walking down the street here and you hear so many different languages: French, Italian, English, German, Russian. You hear them Spanish. You hear them all. There's always something on the go here. There's a vibrancy about Monaco, which is really quite exciting. What I do enjoy about living here is everything is so convenient. You can walk everywhere. It's not a big place, so that's good. But in this very, very sort of condensed space, there's virtually everything that you would need in terms of entertainment, culinary delights. Some fantastic restaurants, the ability, the scenery. There's lots of different activities. Elsewhere in the world, yes, everyone's got it, but it's not quite so condensed. It's this convenience that Monaco offers. That's very impressive, and it's what I really appreciate. And the fact that I can walk to work 5 minutes from my apartment to my office, that's wonderful. I don't have to worry about going on a train or a car or anything like that. That's great. I think Monaco has its own pace. It has its own style. It has its own characteristics. Those are timeless. There is a consistency. With Monaco, you know what you're getting. Other places pop up, but you know what? Do they have the security? Do they have the permanence that you have in something like Monaco? I see a lot of certainty for Monaco. I don't think Monaco needs to worry about where it's going. I think it's doing a pretty damn good job already.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching NEWS.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, NEWS.MC and MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.